Hey everybody, so back here with the Wilmington Spotlight, and today I have Mike, and you are actually a longtime resident of Wilmington, actually, right?
Almost 28 years to the day.
28 years to the day almost, and you graduated Wilmington High?
2015.
2015, awesome. So that's great. So you definitely been a part of this community for a long time, things like that, right? You played sports during high school and stuff of that nature?
Yeah, I played baseball, hockey. Stopped baseball after 2 years, sophomore year.
Right.
I was a left-handy catcher, so they were like,
Oh, left-handed catcher, yeah.
yeah, they were like, yeah, that's not
No.
allowed. And so when that was done, I was like, all right, I'm out.
Throws the pitches off, right? Well, that's good. So that carries into so that's why we wanted to have you on the show. I know you've actually got a spot in town, so tell us a little bit about that. So it's like, I know it's a gym, so tell us a little more. So
Yeah, so I got a gym and right up on, you know where the Salvation Army was?
yeah, right over there, next to the tile place, right? Or is it a granite counter place?
MKL Stone.
MKL Stone, right?
MKL
Nice.
Stone. And I call it the box.
Yeah,
It's about 1,100 square feet.
nice.
Can see everything, see everyone. But I actually started in Reading.
Oh, you did. So you didn't actually originally land at that spot in Wilmington you're in now. Do you have
No.
less room over in Reading? Was it like a smaller spot?
It was about half the size, but
Okay.
what started actually was COVID was kind of like a blessing in disguise with the gym.
Okay. Yeah.
I was working at Lifetime at the time,
Okay.
and wham,
Okay.
shuts down.
What were you doing there? Training?
I was in the program to become a personal trainer.
Okay. I've actually experienced that. That's where we go, so that's a great
Okay.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was in the program to become a personal trainer.
Okay.
We all know what happened
And
mid-March of
COVID,
2020.
right?
Yep.
Exactly. Mid-March.
Didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
So you were almost forced into creating this whole
forced into doing
endeavor.
my own thing. But the funny part was, everyone thought I was crazy too,
Yep.
because the little entrepreneur came out in me, and I went to my parents and I go, I'm gonna turn the garage into a gym.
Okay.
'Cause
Love
my
this.
philosophy is garages are for gyms, not cars.
Let's go. So wait a second here. So your business, much like Apple and all those famous businesses, started in a garage. Once again.
Not really a business at the time. It was just me working out, training my
Okay.
mother. A couple friends came over here and there, but everyone thought I was crazy. They're like, "You building a gym in your garage?" And then, so fast forward a little bit. I was coaching youth hockey at the time, as you know.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Something we share a passion on, right?
love
in
coaching.
town, right?
We can kind of talk about that in a little bit. But fast forward, I was coaching. I think it was the Bantams at the time. And
Okay,
I didn't
nice.
have a job.
Right.
So I offered to train some of the kids. I went to my mom's a physical therapist over in Reading.
Which translates kind of into some of the gym activities you do too these
Yeah,
days, right?
Yeah,
You
rehabilitation,
specialize, right?
sports training, performance training.
Okay.
So I went to her boss and was just because COVID hit him a little bit too. So I was
Right.
like, "Can I come in and use some of the space?" So I came in, started using some of the space. Just I think I was training like 3, 4, 5 kids maybe on a
Okay.
Friday before practice. We had practice. I
Right.
think at Restouche at 9:00 at night.
Right.
I was
The
training
best
kids at
times.
I was training kids at 6 and 7 o'clock at night on a Friday.
Okay.
That's literally how it started.
Really? Okay. After school special.
8
Just a
o'clock.
little bit. Yep.
8 o'clock at night rolled around. Go over to the rink.
Yeah.
And we're getting on the ice. Some more kids started to hear about it. Started doing a little bit more of that. But I also needed a job in the meantime.
Right.
I got into sales.
Lovely profession, I might add.
Fun.
It is. It depends. You're right.
I got hired. So I'll back up a little bit. I said if I don't have a job by December 31st of 2020, I'm calling my uncle and I'm going to go lay stone in Boston.
Okay. Backbreaking work. Right.
I didn't want to do that.
No.
It's not where my passion was. Nothing.
Right.
You know, I was like, oh, it would have been one of the things where I wake up in the morning. It's not what I want to really do.
Right.
So what we did was just applied everywhere. I got a sales job. I got a call at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on December 31st, New Year's Eve, on the way to
Okay.
get Chinese food,
Okay.
saying
You
that I
pick
got
up the family
hired.
Food.
I'm
right.
like, yes, let's go.
All right.
I got hired. I got onboarded on January 11th, 2021. How I remember this, no idea. And then I want to say it was either September 15th or September 17th. It was a Wednesday.
Okay. So we're about 9 months into the year. You've done about 9 months of the sales gig.
I go to my parents. I walk downstairs because I had a little office upstairs because I had to move the office from downstairs upstairs so they could play
Right.
music on their day off by the pool.
The life of the parents. They're in that other side
Yeah.
of life now. They're in the good parts, right?
So I come trotting down the stairs, go out the door, go to the deck, and go, I quit my job.
Oh, you didn't? That's how you told your parents? How'd that go?
They were like, what?
That's a good way. But every entrepreneur, anyone you run into, any of us, you have to see that moment. There was a moment in time where you had to take that thrust and jump off the leap.
Well, it was something where it was getting to the point where, I'm getting up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm working out
Right.
in the garage
Yep.
from 6 to 7. I'm getting in the shower. I'm logged in by 8. I'm working from 8 to 4:30, 5 o'clock. Scarf down some food quick. Right. Then we get over to where I was training out of.
Right.
Train people 6, 7, 8, go to almost 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
And then start all over.
Start all over again.
And
it was
that's
getting
a
to the point where it was
killer
just too
schedule.
much.
Right. That's an intense schedule. A lot of us entrepreneurs, weirdly enough, have now come back into these schedules, but the work-life balance, right? I mean, that's a lot.
And there's nothing wrong with what people want to do. I mean,
Right.
if you want to work a 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 6 to 2, whatever,
Right.
it's not for me.
Right.
Like even now, people, I think it was actually this past Monday, I got clients down the gym. We're talking like, oh, how's the weekend going? Or how'd your weekend go? And I'm like, I hate the weekends. And they're like, huh? I just don't like the weekends. I get bored, so what I do is I work from home on Sunday.
There you go.
I train people Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Work from home, writing programs, admin work, marketing on Sundays. I get bored. And then after about 4 hours in the morning, you know where we go?
Back to the gym.
We go back to the gym to work
Right.
out. It's just something that's...
When it's your passion, though, and you mentioned this, when you had the sales job, probably wasn't driving the inside of your soul. It wasn't giving
Hated
you
it.
fire. You hated it. So there's no passion. So once you transition into your passion, what you love to do,
It's easy.
these schedules don't become schedules. You never work a day in your life. Like, I love what I do. So therefore, I'll work on a Sunday because it's not work to me.
It's so
fun.
It's so easy now to get up,
Right.
somewhere between 4:30 and 5:30 usually. That's Monday through Friday about that time. Saturdays we sleep in till 6 o'clock. Sundays we
Yeah.
sleep in till
Sleep until 6,
6:37.
right. Yeah. That's a way to say it. Yeah.
But it just doesn't feel like work.
It doesn't, right?
But it gets to the point where, like, to me, the fun part of my job too is going to, I go golf with clients. You go watch the kids that you train. You go watch their sports games.
Them playing in town.
Like, that's-
competing.
That's something that's also forgotten to this. I was talking with a buddy of mine the
That's
other day,
crazy.
and I'm like, in the world of personal training, there's so much that's hidden. It's not just going to the gym or working out all
Right.
day. It's not just going to train clients. There's so much to it.
That's awesome. And you invest in that because you've built this, you've helped work on this regimen, and then you guys stuck to it, and now you're seeing the results. Why not go to the game and check it out, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, what we do is we try and work with as many kids as possible. Granted, it's about 50-50 now with kids, adults, right? So, I mean, we started with just kids.
Now, so starting with the kids and going
Mm-hmm.
to the adults and getting into this area, what is exactly, because we mentioned you played sports growing up, you were an athlete, this was your passion. Now, where's the connection? Because you said you go to games and you go golf. Where is the connection? What exactly does your services, your gym, what is the type? What does it offer? And how does that all work? Like,
So for the athletes, we do sports performance training.
okay.
Totally different than what the typical gym goer might see as like the bro splits, right? Where they do
Right.
like back and buys, chest and
Right.
tris, chest and shoulders.
Right.
There's just no ROI on that in terms of
Okay.
training. Like there's
Right.
none. Unless you're looking to get on stage for a bodybuilding show,
Yep.
whether it's a kid, adult, whatever, athlete, gen pop. There's just we say more bang for your buck, right?
Right.
How can we get as much with as little as possible?
Okay.
Right. So most people don't have or want to do what we do and be at the gym all day.
Right. Spend 3 hours a day. It's not going to happen. Right.
So we look at how can we hit the whole body in under 3 hours a week or even 2
In a
hours
week?
a week.
Okay.
Right. So what we do is for most people, it's full body training
Okay.
or upper lower splits, depending upon if they're training more. If they're training any more than 3 days, we split the body in half. We do 1 day upper, 1 day lower. They can go back to back to back.
And what I'm hearing is you this is custom to the person that's walking in, so it would be different for every one of us that walks in.
Oh,
right?
so we don't just do like if you go to a typical gym, right? It's,
right.
Everyone, you get 20 people.
We're all rotating the same machines, right? Same thing. We're
now,
all doing the same work.
We have some of that, right? But
it's
it's based on if someone has the same goals, if someone has the same abilities, yeah, they can do the same stuff.
Right.
But we do what's called semi-private training.
Okay.
So everyone comes in the door.
So it's not one-on-one. But
we do one-on-one training too.
If you do, right.
But a lot of what we do, mainly with the kids, adults too, right? I got adult groups too, is semi-private stuff where they get custom training. Cool. But first, everyone comes in, they get an assessment. Right. It's not just come in, boom, we're going to
individual
training.
Assessment for everybody.
I want to see where someone's range of motion is at, where someone's flexibility is at, where someone's strength base is at, stuff like that. Because then I don't know where to put them.
Right.
For the benefit.
Correct.
Right. So when it's something where, this goes back into my sports coaching days. It's not about me, it's about the client, right? So, and I did the same thing. I've coached about, I want to say 10 hockey teams and 4 baseball teams my whole life now. So I'm only 27 years old, going on 28.
Right.
I've coached 14 sports teams.
So one of the things I noticed with coaching, you'll probably notice with coaching, each kid needs to be coached differently. Right?
You can't treat, and it drives me nuts when I see, coaches are like, it's my way or the highway. This is how it has to be.
Doesn't apply to everyone, right?
I've coached thousands of people now in such a short window where, like, I had one kid yesterday, for instance, in the gym. I had to treat the situation a little differently because what motivates him is different than what motivates the other kids.
Right.
Our job as coaches is to put players, clients, whoever, whether it's on the field, the ice, the gym, in a position to succeed. It's not about us. It's not about me. And if they're not succeeding, whether it be winning games, wanting to show up, being happy, seeing results in the gym, we stink at our job.
Yeah. It's about their fulfillment.
Yeah. I mean, I had a saying when I coached hockey. I go, my time has come and gone.
Yeah. We've passed our hills.
My time has come and gone.
Right.
When I was coaching, even with Wilmington Youth Hockey, on kind of how this all got started down at the gym was the philosophy of my time has come and gone. Even if you're a volunteer, do it to the best of your ability because the only one you're hurting is the kid. And even at the high school level, you see it all over. Mm-hmm. You
see careers get ruined. You see kids lose their fire and passion for what it is they love, and it's a shame every time, right?
So I actually did a brief coaching call or a couple of years ago. Wilmington Youth Hockey coach. There was probably about 15 or so on there, and I brought up some statistics where 70% of kids quit.
Unfortunately.
All sports, all organized sports by the age of 13. 30% of athletes quit high school sports because of coaching and coaches. 39% of high school seniors are active in a sport. And those numbers just keep dropping and dropping and dropping because it's a fact that they don't look at it from the perspective of it's for the kids. It's to make them happy. And, I always say, like I said, I coached high school hockey too briefly in a stint. And for that, I used to joke all the time because we want to get the kids laughing, right? I'd say, we're walking, or skating for that matter, on 2 knives on frozen water with a piece of rubber bouncing all over the place.
Yep.
We're playing a kid's game.
Kind of a goofy thing.
We're playing a kid's game.
It's fun.
And it's something where you can't make it to the point where it's just about fun or so hard to the point where it's just about winning.
It's balance.
Because if you make it fun, guess what they want to do? They want to show up. Yep. When they show up, what do they usually do? They get better. If you get better, what ends up happening? You end up winning.
You win.
It's a very simple formula. But too many find it to, it's just about fun or...
Right. Or it's just about work.
It's just about work. We got to win. We got to win. We got to win.
Sprint all the time. It's like, I can see that.
Don't even get me started on that. Oh, my God. Don't even
get
me
started.
So
the cardio. We'll go there in a minute. So let's get there. So let's start with that stuff. So now you've built up a rapport with athletes. And you said, like you said, you have adult-only classes too. So, you've kind of built a balance and all of that. Now, when it comes to the coaching, though, the kids and all this type of stuff. So for me, I had an experience where I had to go and retrain my entire health. I had to lose massive amounts of weight at one point in my life.
It's hard.
I was 444 pounds, right? And so I had to go back. And one of the things I realized was it wasn't just me going to lose weight. It was me going to learn and retrain and understand these things. Like, for instance, you just assume coming out like, okay, so like, you think there's a way that you eat, there's a way that you diet, and like all that stuff. Once you go to a professional like yourself, they start to like really pull that ground out from underneath, because they're like, no, wait a second, you shouldn't be getting all these carbs in if you guys are trying to, you're trying to cut. And then like, I'm like, well, the pyramid growing up had 12 to 15 servings of carbs at the bottom. I thought that, and then the cardio, they like hop on a treadmill is the only way you're going to lose weight. It's like, there's got to be weight training. There's got to be fun ways to do this, right?
So I say cardiovascular endurance is for the most important muscle in the human body. Do you know what that is?
The heart.
The heart.
The heart, right.
It is not for anything other than that.
Okay.
A caloric deficit.
Yep.
I'm not a nutritionist, so
right.
I like to joke and say I legally cannot give you advice, right? It's one of those things, but it's common knowledge, or it's public knowledge too. You can just go online,
right.
any published website, right, and find the only way to really lose weight is to be in what's called a caloric deficit. Right, I did a trial run with my dad once, who, I don't know where I came from, he doesn't like anything about the gym.
Right.
He'll hang some TVs, he'll do the maintenance, he loves that.
Yeah.
He loves that stuff.
Yeah.
But I did a trial with him once, and it was just, okay, Dad, we're going to go 7 days. We're not going to work out at all because we don't like it.
Right.
We're just going to dial back on our food. Lost 10 pounds in 1 week.
And there it is. And that wasn't from him doing one of the fad diets, eating certain things, eating no carbs, all these crazy diets.
No, his blood work came back fine.
It was just caloric. You just.
But I can't do
calories.
that with people because I'm not a dietitian or registered nutritionist. I would never do that with people because it's technically out of my legal scope of practice.
100%.
But it's just one of the things where
common sense. We got to stop.
I wouldn't even really say that. It's just something that it's not pushed as much because, like I always say too, with certain places, a lot of stuff is marketing,
right?
Tools, right?
Right.
I'm terrible at marketing. Right, I'm a straight shooter.
Straight shoot, right? You can't tell. You got to be genuine and authentic, right?
And I don't want to lie to people because some people will lie or market in a certain way just to take money. I'm not doing that. Could business be greater if we did that? Absolutely. I'm not doing that. It's unethical, and we're not going down that road. I totally am against it.
Love
and
that.
Even with some people, I've turned people away. Some people are like, oh, I want to train 3-4 days a week, and I'm like, how about we start with 1 or 2?
Mm-hmm.
Business-wise, it'd be great if they did 3 or 4.
Right.
But I know for them, it's probably not best.
And that's key, because that is the service itself, right? In the long run, they want to see results. They want to feel fulfilled. It's not going to happen if they're breaking themselves in those situations, right?
I mean, again, gym, sports, whatever. If you're not doing what's best for the kid, the client, the adult, whatever, they're not going to want to do it, and they're not going to see the results, especially in the gym. One thing, we just had someone reach out, and the biggest challenge they said was finding time to come in.
In today's world, right?
Which I could whip out the calculator, break out all the math. There's 168 hours in the week. If the average person works, say, even I'll be a little on the higher end, 50 hours a week.
We're going back to your entrepreneur time management skills, right? We get it, right?
So,
but not everybody's like that, right? Not everybody is.
I'm very routine like.
Right.
I mean, my days are timed like people always joke. They're like, you leave no time for error. I time my days like to the minute, sometimes to the second. I mean, is it healthy? Sometimes no, but that's just how I work.
Mm-hmm. So you talk about the youth, you talk about that. So I remember, I think one of the things that I noticed growing up as an athlete is that it's almost like on every couple year basis, the entire school of thought gets rethought and redone. And so like, I remember, growing up, they would be like, you got to be careful because certain things would stunt, certain things would do this. And there's been way more research now on this. And we're talking 20 years ago for me. But there is a ton of connections in the research with young athletes getting into programs like this and helping in their performance and helping, like, when you say you have fun, like if a kid's doing a lot better or performing a lot better, that's obviously going to be more fun, right? So talk on a little bit of that. So basically, like the youth, I know that you have both sides of the fence. You have the regular population, general population, but a lot of the youth I've seen. So every time I've come by, I've seen multiple high schoolers in there doing their thing, working hard. Now, what does that look like for a high schooler, what does that mean for the athletes, and how do kids benefit from this? Like, how does this all work basically for a younger kid? Do you have to be careful of certain things? Like, what's going on with that?
So it really depends on the individual, right? So that's where we go back and we talk about how, the assessment stuff and
Right.
customizing it. That's why we don't just have, like, I call it cookie cutter programs.
Mm-hmm.
We have templates in place. We have exercise lists that we pick from and stuff like that, but we carefully put them, and we have ways of how we systemize training sessions, which I can't give out too much stuff.
Right. Right.
But
Trade secrets.
yeah, I mean, but there's certain stuff where we look at it and we see on an individual basis. But I mean, with the kids, for instance, we don't look at it just as sports performance or being in the gym and stuff like that. I look at stuff, right, and from a general perspective, I call it from the macro.
Okay.
So we want to think
Use
of
that in economics.
we want to think this through from a bigger perspective,
Bird's eye view.
where these kids one day will not be playing sports.
Right.
How can we make them good adults? Right? Time management, setting goals, accomplishing those goals, communication,
Accountability,
right? Things
Yep.
like that. So it's not just, and again, it goes, I go back to saying I'm 27 with my sister laughed at me the other day. I'm like, I'm 27 with what would be equivalent to 20 years of coaching experience.
Right.
Because of my years in the gym, the amount of teams that I've coached, the amount of people that I've worked with. So you have to look at it from a bigger perspective of where
100%.
we're growing the next generation
Right.
of young adults. We have to help them.
In
I shouldn't say
every
help. We have to guide them.
Right.
And even some adults, they come to you. Some of them want someone to talk to.
Yeah.
While getting some exercise in.
Mm-hmm.
We've had someone that came in and he's been with us for almost 2 years. I want to say he's down over 50 pounds.
Awesome.
But sometimes if you look at it in the first 3 months, when you do the math, it's like 2 pounds a month. And like, it's only 6 pounds in the first
Right.
3 months. And that's where we're like, we're going to fall off. Keep with it. Our job is keep with it. Some people be like, you want them to keep with it, so you grow the business. Now, I want them to keep with it because they invested in this.
Right.
And I want them to see it work.
And that's the holistic approach. I want to see every aspect of your life get better, and this will happen through certain things. A good coach knows that. Like when we coached hockey, when you coach people at the gym, this isn't just about physical fitness and exercise. These are all tied into things like character building, good traits that we need to build on, habit forming traits, because like you said, there is a day where, unless you're going pro,
but even those guys,
at 30 something, they're done, right?
I played men's league for a little
Right.
while. I don't have time to do it anymore, and I was bummed. One of the games I didn't get to. One of the guys on our team was friends with the former Bruin, Andrew Alberts. The guy showed up and played defense for our men's league team.
Right.
The dude was in the NHL. All roots go back to adult league, even at the professional level. So, and those guys are still adults.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something where whether it doesn't matter if someone's going D1, D2, D3, professional, playing overseas, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
We have to look at it from the perspective of we're creating the next generation of young adults with them.
Right.
I'll tell you a quick story where when I coached high school hockey over at Acton Boxborough, this was pretty cool. At the banquet at the end of the year, the kid who was our team captain gave his captaincy speech and all this stuff. He was there a couple years before I was there. His freshman year, he was on varsity. Nervous, anxiety and all this stuff. The head coach, I guess, sat right next to him on the bus, made him feel like welcome on the team and all that stuff.
That was the difference.
3 years later, kid's team captain.
Right.
Leader on the team, ends up going to play college sports. Great young adult. I mean, that's everything. That's what a coach is. That's what a coach is.
Because if I make a good impression on the youth, right, in
They're gonna
more
remember
ways than one, they're going to remember us. They're the coaches, because I have those coaches I remember back in the day that were just character people that I look up to, that I had for role models, that really helped me through difficult times. I remember, really, really difficult time in high school, losing a friend and having one of the guys that had coached me when I was younger come in and take my skates off. And because I was just I was in a tough spot. And I'll never forget those days, because it's weird because, I always say it just much like you, is like I try to be the adult that I didn't have always growing up, right? And I try to be that example, and sometimes that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the sport I'm coaching them in at all.
So I have two past coaches, one of which enemy territory, Burlington. Right?
Yeah. Oh.
Burlington High School hockey coach Bobby
God,
Conceição,
yeah.
the son, not the father, just retired. So the son took his position. He was my coach in the Bay State games. One of the concussions I had, this shows how many I had. I can't remember which one it was. It was either 3 or 4. I don't remember. And the medical staff wouldn't let me play. It was a bronze medal game. They're like, no, you can't do it. I was there all ready to rock and roll. I was ready to play.
Devastating.
He lets me help coach on the bench.
Oh, wow.
I'm in shorts. I have no jacket. I'm in sandals. I'm like, what the heck am I? Because I was ready to play hockey.
Right.
And then another coach, he's here from town. I don't know if you know who Bob Mitchell is.
I don't. I think I actually do. Actually, yeah. I think is he on the WCTV board? Actually, I think.
Maybe I don't know. He was my coach down in the Small Diamond baseball down at Rotary Park in the majors on the Tigers, and I'll never forget. I walk in and I told him when he was the coach, I'm a young kid ready to rock and roll. I play catcher. He's like, we'll see about that. You have to earn it.
Right.
So it went back to me saying, as a coach now, I'm not going to be biased. I don't care, who someone is, what someone's background is. Did I go to school with a family member? Am I friends with them? Or even when I coached hockey, did they come to the gym? I don't care. I'm not being biased.
Right.
You're going to earn it.
Take the politics out of the sports. Right. That is a big thing.
None of it. You see it all the time.
Right.
Youth sports, high school sports. Yep. It gets less and less as you get past high school sports.
Because the skill really does matter more and more as you get older.
And people's jobs are on the line.
Exactly.
If your job's not on the line, you're going to play, but I look at it from that perspective of from that day, and then the year after that was when I was 13 years old, that was when I first started coaching with him, throwing soft toss to some of the kids into the baseball fence. And from that day on, I said, if I'm coaching, I'm going to be the most unbiased human being out there. You treat everyone with equality. You treat everyone fair. You treat everyone with respect.
Of course, because then it gives everybody the equal opportunity to earn, grow, and explore themselves.
Even in sports, right? I mean, my mom's cousin, I guess technically he's my cousin, but there's such an age gap. I refer to him as my mom's cousin. He's an athletic director up at Timberlane Regional High School up in New Hampshire.
Okay.
He goes to all of his coaches before senior day and says, if you don't play all your seniors on senior day, there's going to be a problem. I'm paraphrasing, of course. That doesn't exactly how it says it, but he's told me before he talks to all his coaches, and it's senior day for a reason.
Right.
So I look at stuff like that, and I go, we have to do better for these kids. Because it's about them. It goes back in the gym. It's not about me. It's about them. People shoot me a text. I probably got text on my phone right now, where I feel bad if I'm not getting back to them, but they
there's the entrepreneur in you again.
But it's one of the things where, for me, it's not like, oh, it's Saturday. I'm not going to respond to them until Monday. It's my clients' priorities are very important to me. So, and it's the same thing when I was coaching sports. Someone texts me, whatever it is, coach, I got a problem. Cool, let's get to the rink early. We're gonna talk. Cool, after this, we're gonna talk. It's just one of those things. Even at practices, if someone's parents are running late, I'm not leaving this rink until you get picked up. We're gonna wait in the lobby, and we're gonna sit there until your parents pick you up, because it's a liability standpoint. Because you do what's right for them. Sometimes I'd have to wait at the rink an extra 30, 45 minutes, but it ain't about me. It's about the safety and needs of the kids. And that's kind of all that really matters.
And it's crazy because going back and looking at being an entrepreneur, business, and all these things that we do, and we do our passion. There are so many similarities and parallels to me playing sports, whether I had to carry myself a certain way, you have to play with ethics. Then the drive when no one's around to push you, that's so equivalent to my career now versus where I would be in the gym or working for sports, trying to better myself, Well,
people always say, you ever hear of the iceberg method?
No.
You only see a little bit of that iceberg up top, but there's this
all
much
that work
underneath.
Right.
Right. And I don't do anything. I don't care what people don't see or whatever. It's I don't do stuff to get a little pat on the back. I try and live. Obviously, some stuff has to be public, but I try and live as private of a life as possible. So I just, I don't. It doesn't matter to me if people see, the success or the downs or whatever it is, the work. I don't care. All I care is that they see the results that they want to get. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a beautiful thing.
Well, even from the entrepreneurship standpoint, it's like you don't stop going. And our job is we constantly think.
Being an athlete and playing sports taught me how to lose, and you need to lose 100 times for every win. So in the entrepreneur world, you're going to have 1,000 times where you're beat down, but you're going to get those wins. But people see the top of the iceberg, the wins. They never see all those losses and those things. And that's what sports taught me. It taught me it's okay. Pick yourself up. Don't let that get in your head. Restart. Work on things to improve yourself. Don't play the victim. Go back after it. And these are all lessons that are carried directly into businesses. Like, yeah, you're going to have some really tough days, especially building a brand like both of us are doing. There's going to be days where you're like down, where it's not all going just swell, and
you're like, oh my god,
yeah.
What the heck, what's going on?
And you can throw in the towel, which you were taught in sports. That's not what you do. You get back up, you try again, you push, you try to improve different areas. You look at things.
The only way you fail, is if you quit.
That's it.
Because if you don't quit, how do you know if you failed?
Right. And they say the difference between the guy who succeeds and does is one more try, right? One more chance at it. You might hit it.
I don't know what the exact number is, but I was reading an article not too long ago. I think he was the creator of Starbucks. Mm-hmm. The amount of banks that shut him down.
Right. And if he had stopped at the first couple.
All it took was one.
Right. If he had just stopped at the first couple, we wouldn't be drinking Starbucks today.
Or even, I don't know if you have a Ring doorbell at your house?
Yeah.
So that guy, what's his name? James, I forget his last name, Jamie Siminoff or something like that. I could be totally wrong. I might have just butchered that. He got shut down on Shark Tank from 4 of the ones. Kevin O'Leary is the only one that's how much of a nerd I am. I watch Shark Tank and play on ChatGPT and my calculator for fun. That's what we do for fun. But
I do. I play a lot with AI and stuff.
It's fun.
I'm sitting there like doing it all. It's crazy.
The only shark that offered him something, for him it wasn't a great deal, but Kevin O'Leary offered him a deal. Mm-hmm. If he walked out of there like with his head down, done.
Right. We wouldn't all have Ring doorbells. I wouldn't be able to see everybody that walks up to my house.
I think he sold to Amazon for $1 billion.
Right. Amazon now does all that because that's all
so
part
it's
of the
like,
ring.
You can't quit.
It's incredible because that gentleman who didn't quit is responsible for the security system in my house. And it's like, and like you said, if that guy had just stopped at the first couple of banks, so that woman had stopped at the first couple of banks, I wouldn't be drinking a Starbucks coffee today.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's wild.
It is. And that relates so much to, and I think that's where those lessons were instilled in me, is like from those coaches growing up, you fall, you lose, you get knocked down, or you have a bad game. And as a child, as an adolescent, as a teenager, my brain isn't mentally prepared to always take all of those things properly and to have a great coach, a great role model.
That's why you can't just yell at them.
Right.
You can't, because
I don't believe in yelling at kids at all whatsoever for it.
There's a difference between yelling
at the group when they're running, right.
Well, also there's a difference between yelling around the kids and yelling at the kids. It's like if you stub your toe and you're like, whatever.
It's not directed at you, right?
It's not directed at anyone. You stub your... So...
Big believer, the full practice, I will yell in the rink as we're on the ice. We'll yell the, start... Never directly would tear down a kid like that.
Never single them out.
Ever would do that.
You never, ever single anyone out. Not...
No. Pull them aside if you have to talk to them, too. Don't... I always learned that because my coaches that were good to me wouldn't dress me down in a locker room. They'd be like, hey, we have to talk. We come over here with me and another coach. We want to just talk to you real quick and have a conversation.
The best coaches know how to manage that.
Right.
And I ran into a situation, too, again, when I coached high school hockey. I liked to make the kids think, like, I'm an open book. Come talk to me.
100%.
And if you...
About anything.
If the kids can't talk to you about sports, about home life, about a question... I had kids asking me about math homework. I'm like, calculus. I'm like... the heck do I know?
Yeah.
I took calc twice, once in high school, once in college when I started as electrical engineering, but I don't know this anymore. But it was one of the things where I wanted to be an open book. And one of the kids wasn't getting as much playing time as he wanted. He asked me professionally, Coach, can we talk outside real quick? Privately. Mm-hmm. He asked me what he needed to do. What does that show me?
He wants it.
The kid wants to do better. The kid cares. He wants to improve.
He'll take suggestions. He's open-minded to it, right?
Right, so...
We can get this kid better.
So as coaches, I have kids down the gym. It's not just about X's and O's of working out or sports. It's
Right.
how's your day going? How'd that test go? What's going on this weekend? Or
Right.
how'd your week? You went on a skiing trip? You went on a cruise? How'd that go? So it's
Good coaches know that plays into every single part of what we're doing. If they have a bad week in a test, they're not going to perform for us. And we never knew because we didn't ask. We didn't get to know them enough to be like, what's really going on my best forward right now? Why is he completely in the dumps? Well, he broke up with his girlfriend this week, coach. Okay, this is good to know because I need to coach him through certain things, right?
Yeah, or another one, I forget where I learned this one, but again, when you're coaching sports, it's the first thing. When I coached hockey, I got on the ice, the pucks were in the middle of the ice, right? Everyone went counterclockwise. Why counterclockwise? I don't know. That's just what we did. Shoot, stick handle, shoot, go, pick up pucks, go. But I made it a point, that was the first 5 minutes of practice, to go around every kid, first name, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? What's going on this morning? Good. Ready to work? Yeah, we'll go. Guess what?
So important.
Guess what they're doing? They're
So
ready
important.
to work.
Yeah.
You let them know, like, I care about you. We're ready to roll.
I recognize
I see you. I see your needs. I'm here for you. I'm not here for me. Because if none of you guys were playing, I wouldn't be here. So I'm here for you.
Exactly. And it's a volunteer position. People forget that
Oh,
sometimes.
I'm talking even when I coached high school briefly.
Oh, even then.
Granted, you could.
I don't think that's much higher than a volunteer position, right? I don't think you're
think it
living
was,
off of those.
It breaks
livings,
down to
right?
like $7. Well,
Right.
Some people would put in the middle. For me, it broke down to like $7 an hour because I'm like, we have 3 practices a week.
Right.
We got 2-3 games a week.
Right.
Film, team lifts, and I'm like, I'm sitting at home, practice plans, lineups, and all this stuff.
Exactly.
I'm going over statistics.
The iceberg.
Yeah.
For what's no one seeing. And that's all the hours that really make the difference. Right.
But what do they do? You end up, kids sleep over each other's houses. They have team dinners. They have team parties. So
The greatest teams I've ever been a part of, whether I played on them or coached them, is when you have that bond. That bond of like they become family. It's the record at the end of the year is not what decides whether it was the greatest season I've ever had. Well, it was that.
So I one of my favorite movies is Miracle.
Oh yeah.
Right, and in the
Herb does that. He tries to push them together, right?
Later on in the movie, right? And actually, when one of the games I coached, we got thumped 7-1.
Yeah.
I was the disappointed parent, right? So I come in, it's just like the only things I said was, you guys are gonna watch Miracle over the weekend. We're gonna ask you 2 questions Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. at practice. See you then. And I walked right out. Nothing. Didn't say anything other than that. You should have seen. Jaws drop, right? Next practice, I asked, what's your favorite part? What's the most important part?
Right.
Most important part is when they pull Herb Brooks off the bus
And
to say, I want him to go home because he's not.
Tell him to go. Because the
we're a
team
family.
unified at that point and said, you're not doing this to us. You're not bringing in another. And that is actually, I think, a really great point you just bring up, because the best coaches actually do the least amount of coaching, because if we coach right, these kids will want to come to practice, will want to do the sprints, will want to do the right thing. Because
and then what do they do?
Right, and
they
then
get better, and then they win.
better. And it's amazing, because that is the truth, is if you're doing your job right, that they should want to coach themselves. The group should notice. 3 of them will notice, oh, that guy just did this. Hey, let's point it out, but do it in the right way, the way coach does it. Pull them aside. Hey, this is what you got to work on. And now I see them telling them what I would have pulled them aside to say, and I'm like, that's my job right there.
You know when you can identify a good coach?
Coaching. How?
When you take away the coach.
That's a great point. The team will still do successful everything. It will still score, win, do everything without you in the room, because you've led them enough to know, I know what I got to do here, coach.
You have your captains. Your captains are an extension to you. They
100%.
know, okay, they help keep kids in line. They help motivate the kids. They talk to the officials.
And it's the truth at work now too, because
same thing at work.
As an entrepreneur or as a boss, you get measured by the day you take off. Because can your team do this? Have you trained everybody properly? Does everybody know their role? Does everybody know how to do it? Do they feel confident about it? Do they feel good about themselves?
Yeah.
Some of the things that is a big part of teenagers is like self-confidence, is like they're just trying to figure out the world at this point, right? We all know they all know everything, right? But it's a tough time to be anyone at that point, right?
Well, even kids that are 18 years old,
right?
They're still kids.
Still adolescents, right?
Hell,
They're kids.
I'm still a kid.
I see 23-year-olds at the office. One day, a 23-year-old at the office goes, hey, do I have to register my car before I drive it? I just drove home the whole day thinking, what a kid. He's a kid still, right? He doesn't No, he didn't know. But that's crazy.
But again, it goes back to us
Being better coaches.
better coaches.
Getting involved with that.
You know, I don't have kids,
Right.
so I can't say be a better parent or anything like that because I'm not
Right.
a parent. You know, I'm not going to tell people how to parent, but I can teach people how to coach. You know, I had one kid he came to my gym. He played college football. He reached out to me not too long ago. He's a long snapper over at Assumption College.
Cool.
And he's like, I want to get into video analysis with some kids and offer long snapping services. He goes, how do I go about it? Sat down with him on an hour call on a Sunday. Later that week on Thursday, he texted me, I got my first client. 4 days.
Let's go.
4 days.
Let's go.
So it's something where I'm not going to act like I know everything. I don't know everything. If someone asks me a question I don't know, I'm a straight shooter, like I said earlier.
Got to look into it. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to find out for you.
I'll get back to you.
But I like to think I know a little bit about some of the stuff, you know, in terms of like coaching kids in sports, coaching kids in the gym, you know, and now another fun part is training adults.
Yeah.
Where, because they saw what we were doing with the kids and they just go, you train adults too? And it's something where it's like,
well, you see something you might, for me, like I said, when I went through the process of reinventing myself really later in life, like, I guess the greatest mystery that I had solved at that point was I don't know everything and I do need help and I do need support because there were things that I missed growing up that I might not have been coached into. So
we look at it though from the realm of you're paying for services and this and that.
Right.
But you're investing in yourself, right?
100%.
You know, and we do it in a sense where we don't do year contracts and stuff like that. We offer trial packs and then we offer, 4-month commitments and stuff like that. And then after the 4 months, it's month to month. But the only reason why we do a 4-month thing,
keep you coming at the beginning, right?
Because that's the only way you're going to start seeing results.
So we have to keep you coming long enough for the miracle to happen. That's why the 4 is so important.
And then after that, it's month to month.
Because then you already know the results, and then you've driven yourself there because you know it. That's a good point.
But it's something where we don't do it for us.
No.
We do it because it takes on average 90 to 120 days to see if we follow the habits, the good habits, to see a significant change.
Nice.
So again, we do it not for us, for them. Because people that come in, if they know, okay, I'm coming twice a week, 3 days a week, whatever it may be, that, okay, I'm going to do this. Let's say twice a week. What's 15 weeks? That's 30 workouts, right? So, and then on top of that, I'm gonna guide you in terms of like, okay, let's check in, let's weigh ourselves, this week, whatever it may be, and we're gonna make sure these measurables are kind of in line, And
if not, we adjust and we work on it.
That's that.
Right. And that's a beautiful thing, because like you said, 4 months seeing the results, then the results drive themselves. But like you just mentioned a couple times that you're investing in yourself. And this has actually become a huge industry because people are starting to realize like I can get a nice car and a nice house or I can do these things, but if I don't have my health, what's the difference?
So I saw it firsthand. My grandmother had Alzheimer's. She got diagnosed in August of 2011. And so I was 14 years old. And it was something that my mother felt like she got robbed of her adulthood with her mother. And then my grandfather just destroyed him, But he did what he could, and eventually she had to go in a nursing home. She ended up taking strokes, immobile, couldn't talk, couldn't feed herself.
It's horrible.
So
sorry.
Even in this hypothetical world, if they had everything, you still lose your health. Now it can make things a little easier. Don't get me wrong. You might be able to have private assistance at home and stuff like that, but it's something that if you don't have your health.
Yeah, you have nothing.
None of it matters. My father's father...
Steve Jobs. He couldn't save himself with all the money in the world.
Well, I was going to go back and say my dad lost his father a week before my parents' wedding back in 1990.
Oh, that's horrible. I'm sorry.
And it's something that when you see this stuff happening, it really kind of, oh my God. And like, for instance, I just found out today that one of my dad's former colleagues has glioblastoma. Have you heard of that stuff?
I don't.
It's a tumor in the brain where the average, I want to say, lifespan might be 2 to 5 years thereafter. I've known other people that have had it.
Oh, is that the one that's like it's like a web inside of like the brain?
I don't know too much about it, and I don't want to speak too much on it.
Right.
But I know that I know people that have had it.
Yeah.
And it's not good, and it's something where when you witness people firsthand lose the health, nothing else matters.
It doesn't. And they're so desperate in that moment, you see it.
Nothing else matters.
We experienced it when my niece got sick. It was like, anything. What do you need? And it was at the end of the day, like, I'm sure any parent in that hospital in Children's would have been like, I'll give you the world. I'll give you everything I got.
My sister works up at Children's Hospital on the cardiology floor, so I could imagine the stuff that she sees where it's like, nothing else matters in that world.
That's desperation. That is the most desperate. And so there it is. Health is
number one. Everything. And I say that all the time. If you don't have your health, everything else is just lost. Everything else can come back, right?
That goes back to Lifetime. You had said you'd worked there. And so I actually had a buddy who was giving me some crap about it. He's like, you going to Lifetime? I said, yeah, but like essentially, if you think about it, it's a night out at the bar. Once. You could go and drop, a couple $100 these days, right? That's what I pay to go to the gym to invest in my health, because why would that not make sense to you, right? If I'm going to invest in anything else.
So I look at from this perspective, right? Even personal training, right?
Right.
You can work with us. I think our online coaching option is like $150 a month.
Okay.
Right, and we'll write you programs. We're not going to. You won't have access to the gym. You won't have access to in person, but we'll write you programs. We'll show you. We'll tell you what to do. And our in person stuff starts at just over $200 a month.
That's not bad at all.
That's where it starts at the lowest package, where you get to work with us at least once a week. We write all your programming, right? And then for me, I look at it from the perspective of, let's say, like you just said with the bar, let's say someone goes, I don't know, out
dinner and drinks, $200,
and let's say you do that 3 times a month.
Exactly. Cut one of those out and go to the gym and invest in your food, right?
We're not saying you can't do what you want.
Right.
You can still enjoy your dinner and drinks. You can enjoy your breakfast.
Enjoy your dinner better, too, if you start working out and, burning the calories and feeling good about yourself. Like, you can eat better, you can live better, you sleep better.
I look at when I go out to eat now, I'm like, cheesecake? Let's go. Because I know it's not going to affect me.
Because you'll work it off.
Well, not just that, but to a point where things are so ritualistic and habitual on a fairly regular basis, where that one cheesecake,
right,
it's not gonna make a difference. If I do that cheesecake every day,
you're in a different
it's gonna be a problem.
If balance, right?
Like last week, we had my sister's in-laws came over the house, and it was something that, we had the whole shindig. We had the charcuterie board. We're Italian. Right. We're Italian, if you can't tell. The last name wouldn't tell it, but the charcuterie board. The pastas. The pies after, the cookies, and it's just like
once in a while, right?
Okay, cool.
And there's a trainer
have whatever I want.
Once in a while, I can have whatever I want, as long as, like you said,
you know what I had that day?
Regiment.
I had cheese, crackers, pepperoni, all that stuff. I had a heaping dish of pasta, some ciabatta bread. I think I had a piece of ribeye, and then after that, I think I had a cookie and a piece of key lime pie.
That's everything I've learned.
And I do training. I do training for a living.
Yeah, but you can do it in moderation, because that's one of the things that I got so confused about growing up. When I got to the weight loss surgery and that part of my life, they were like, "How many times you can go to the gym?" I said 2, maybe if I can stick to it, maybe next week. If I don't stick to it, though, I'll try 2 again next week. And she goes, "That's the right answer," because a lot of people are going to say 7 days. First day they miss, it's over.
What I just tell you about people that come
in,
the
diets too,
and they want to go too hard too fast.
You say slow down, right? You say, well, let's see what your speed is first.
From a business perspective,
that'd be great.
It'd be great, but it's not. But it's not best for them.
It's not the best,
And and there's too many. Like, some people will tell us, I want to be a personal trainer. I love working out.
Right.
You should be a personal trainer because you want to help people.
Right. It's 2 different things.
You like working out. This is just a bonus.
The best athletes on the planet don't always make the best coaches, right?
And the best coaches sometimes never played.
They never played. And there's that whole where people weirdly think the connection is like, oh, I'm a super workout guy. I'm all about doing my calorie intake and food and everything. So I should be a personal trainer. Well, how are you, like we've talked about, with coaching people? How are you with the people? Because that's a huge part of that job, right? Is one-to-ones, hours, groups, teaching people.
Yeah, and I like this. I have a saying, we're not fly-by-night coaches. We're not, accountants during the day or finance people during the day. We coach people in the morning. We coach people in the day. We coach people in the afternoon. We coach people at night. We coach people on the weekends.
And that actually translates well into a lot of things, because, for instance, some people, because I'm a banker, but there's about as many bankers as there are lawyers or doctors. We all do different things completely, right?
There's nothing wrong with doing both.
Nothing. And so that's what I've realized is, so people will ask me like, well, when you stop making some money and stuff like that, like, you call a banker. No. The money guys, the guys that work as financial advisors, do this from 9:00 in the morning till 5:00 at night. He's going to know way more than I will. Now you want to talk mortgages? I can do that, but I don't know what they do.
Like,
on a
I
daily
might know
basis.
a little about
Right.
mortgages and stuff
Exactly.
like that, but I'm not going to try and
Correct.
come off to you as like, oh, this is.
I don't do
You're
it
the
9 to
expert.
5.
I'm not.
Right.
I might
You're
know
the
a little
expert.
bit.
Right. And that's the difference maker. It's just somebody that wakes up and does this on a daily basis, is going to, by nature, have way more knowledge, right? Just that too. But you're also going to keep up with, like I said, I remember, like, you couldn't work out in junior high, then you could work out in junior high. Like, it was all these things. And so I would rather go to a guy that does this 9 to 5 and ask him point blank, what is the truth?
So I'll give you the answer to that. And this is what I tell everyone. I don't start kids in the gym before 10 or 11.
There you go.
Usually 11 or 12, depending upon the individual situation, right? Does the kid want to do it?
Good point. That's a big part. Because if he's being forced by his parents, it's torturous, right?
Are they being supervised?
Uh-huh. Because they're young and need to be, right?
And do they enjoy it?
Big part.
If not all three of those are hit,
And it's dangerous. It's actually counterproductive almost.
That's why I say we try and make it to the point where, especially with the young kids, right? We want them to enjoy it. We want them to want to do it. And obviously they're supervised, right? Because they're coming in with us. Right? So, for instance, we offer open gym stuff for some of our high school kids and adults. We don't do it with kids under the age of 14.
Right.
Under
just let him walk in the weight room. It can be dangerous. They can hurt themselves.
It won't happen. Even if we're there, they're not fully supervised, right? And it goes back to the fact of we do this for people. And like a restaurant, right? You don't want to walk in a restaurant and get sick.
No. You trust.
I don't want people walking in my gym and getting hurt.
Right. You trust they know what they're doing.
So if you don't want to get sick going to a restaurant and the restaurant doesn't want to get you sick, I don't want to get you hurt in my gym.
Exactly.
And there's wood over here. I'm going to knock on wood. Luckily, we haven't ran into that yet.
Right.
And I'm sure you've heard the saying of no pain, no gain, right?
Yeah.
Hate it. Because if
shouldn't be painful in your eyes.
It shouldn't be painful. And I actually got my certification. It's called the Pain-Free Performance Specialist certification from Dr. John Russin and his crew at the PPSC cert. But it's something that we have to look at it from, if you're in pain, there's a million exercises in this world, right? It's my job to find something that fits you and not something that you have to fit. Same thing with equipment, right? We don't have regular machine. We have a lot of specialty equipment and stuff like that, free weights. And we do that for the purpose of, let's find something that fits you, the client, rather than making you, the client, fit this.
Right. Instead of going to the gym saying it's buy and try day because that's on the 7-day schedule of everybody, you say, well, what works for Austin? What's safe for Austin? What is not painful for Austin?
Well, that's why, for instance, I think we talked about this earlier with the assessment. We do a consult too. First thing comes in, we offer complimentary consultations, and that's for the reason of we go through a little PARQ, and it's what's your training regimen like, what's your sleeping habits like, how much water you drink, what's your goals, how many days would you like to train, what have you done in the past? And it's something that we can go through and suggest what we think might be best. Like if someone says, I want to train 4 days a week, but I'm extremely busy. We're not going to train 4 days a week.
Right.
We're probably going to offer you, let's do twice a week.
See if it works.
See if this works. And
Build
guess
up.
what we can do? After that, we can go to maybe 3.
Go back up. Right. You can build up. You can do it slowly.
But we're not going to jump from 2 to 4. We can jump, after a while, we can go from 2 to 3.
Then see how 3's doing. And then assess again, right? Then you could go to 4 if it works, but you might find you might have to go back to 2.
Most people honestly find that 2 to 3 days of full body training works.
It is a lot.
I'll tell you why. Because they can hit every single muscle group in their body 2 to 3 times a week. Whereas if you do a typical bro split, like buys and tries, but you're only hitting everything once.
I like how you call it the bro split.
It's the classical bro split. Right. Or, what'd you do? I'm just going to do barbell bench, barbell rows, barbell squats, barbell deadlifts. Well, there was any functional movements in that, right? How often are you on one leg on an everyday basis?
Yeah.
Every day. When you walk, you're transitioning from one leg to another. Why am I always standing and doing something?
With 2 legs.
There's a guy I follow on Instagram. His name's Jeff Lavecchio. He used to play in the Boston Bruins organization, pro hockey, and all this stuff. I've had many conversations with him here and there. Nothing crazy. I don't know him on a personal level. Just kind of shooting messages back and forth. And he calls it the phone booth. get out of the phone booth when you're trained. If you can stand in one spot,
We're
not training
every day. I don't do that every day. I never stand in one spot and like that. That makes sense.
like if I can sit in this chair. Now, the only time I would recommend that is like if someone has, a knee brace on or they're injured, it's something that, okay, yeah, we have to sit down. We want to train our upper body, right? Because contrary to popular belief, if someone's injured,
right,
we still want to train what
upper
we can.
body. Right.
If
it's an upper body injury, get on the bike or something.
I have
right?
one kid. He had a broken wrist recently.
Yeah.
You know what we just did the last 5 weeks?
The other wrist? No, I'm just kidding.
We did that. We did the whole upper left side.
Yeah.
We did our whole lower body and conditioning and core. Just because we got a broken wrist
crazy.
doesn't mean we can't train the rest of the body.
Right. Well, that's awesome. And then, like I said, today I brought you in. I'm thinking gym, personal training. Turns out we're talking coaches and we're talking entrepreneurial things. And we talked about how it all translates together, which is incredible.
It all loops together.
It does. Life, it all comes back full circle. Being healthy and taking care of yourself is so vital to every aspect of your life.
It's huge.
Even in my relationship, like some nights I got to go home, right, and help with the baby. Now it's like, or tonight we're going out. So it's like, you need energy. You need to do that to even be there. Because now I've got my full work week. I can say, all right, well, I'm tired. No, like she's ready for me to go out.
You want to be healthy
right.
for your kid now,
and
too.
And that's the other side of it is since I have had the kid, it's like now I want the most amount of years I can possibly get out of it with him. And I never thought that before.
The most unselfish thing you can do, and again, I'm not a parent, but the most unselfish thing you can do is take care of yourself.
Take care of myself so I can be there for him. There you
Sports, throw the baseball, run with them, shoot
I
the
love
hoops,
it.
whatever. I mean,
wait.
it all loops back to life.
We're getting him on the ice this weekend for the first time, so I can't wait. With that being said, where's the location of the gym again? Remind us one more time.
So we're up at 625 Main Street.
Awesome. The box, you call it.
The box.
11,000 square feet now?
1,100.
1,100.
I wish 11,000.
11,000. Jeez, yeah. I was in there
but
for a second.
it's in the building. You can't miss it. Big blue shield on the front. Big glass windows. The same building's MKL Stone, probably across from Tremezzo Restaurant.
Cool. Right. Oh, yeah. Right across from Trezzo on the backside of that parking
I say
center.
you sloop around to the left, and it's right there.
That's it, right there. Well, cool.
So-
We'll have to have you back on again. And
Absolutely.
As the grows in town, we're excited for all the athletes and everybody. This is great. This is a great service. So if anybody's thinking about it, reach out. I think you still have capacity and everything still.
Oh yeah, we're probably
Perfect.
25% from max capacity. So
Let's go.
So if you're gonna join,
let's go.
let's do it.
And there's a lot of young kids down there every time I go in, which is a beautiful thing.
awesome.
A place for them to go.
It's awesome.
Well, thanks again for coming on today, Mike.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank
we'll
you
have
for
to
having
have
me.
you again, of course.
Thank you.
We'll see you around.
Thanks.